All right, here we are with the worldwide show of the radio show that is now a video show. The Top 40 Timeline on Radio is the air radio show with myself, Big Daddy, and of course Lee Lakin. It'd help if you put your mic on. This, by the way, is a new guest on the show. This is my cell phone, and that's my new cell phone there, and it's my first cell phone ever, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
And I didn't do the. Did I do the thing?
I don't think you did. I was just sitting here thinking that.
What the hell are you doing, Russ?
Leah's gonna go. What the hell?
Oh my God, she'd be giving me hell.
Big Daddy Russ Horton, Lee Lake, and Leah Lywood is missing from the studio today. Welcome to our Air Radio 1 News, and thanks for joining us once again. We're starting to get a lot more viewers, so welcome. Thanks, man. It's cool.
R2D2, baby.
R2D2.
Doesn't he look like R2D2? I'm just going to name him R2. And, I call the pizza man, I call my doctor in that order. What do I need a big flashy phone for?
Usually goes in that order, so yeah.
It should be, you know what I mean? I don't have to. Should I blame the pizza man for me calling the doctor?
That's what I mean. That's where I was going with that. But
we're brought to you by Manitoba Tourism, travelmanitoba.com, and wonderful places in Manitoba that I'll talk a little bit about a little later on in the show.
Some of them dealing with fires, but still some beautiful places out there.
When you're talking about rugged Canadian country, you're talking Manitoba, man.
Yeah,
and,
good way of putting it.
The wildlife in Manitoba alone.
Oh, yeah.
The variety is incredible. Polar bears, they have black bears, they have
brown bears.
And, I'm not going to tell.
Even some wild cats, different wild cats out there.
And they've got the Jets, the
Yes.
Winnipeg Jets, of course, and the beautiful city of Winnipeg, which, of course,
Winterpeg, as we call it
inspired
here in
so
Canada.
many rock and roll acts, including Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman and several other people from Winnipeg, too, that came through. Let's look at the news. Did you hear what happened with Alex Jones?
This guy
has been ordered to pay $4.1 million in damages, folks, after falsely claiming the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting was a hoax. What a complete idiot that guy
He deserves every bit of that. What a stupid thing to say.
When he first came on, I listened to him and I thought, this has got to be fiction. This can't be fact.
Right.
And he's very good on the air. I must admit that. He's very motivational. He speaks well. And he's got a bit of a personality. But to make up something like that, how can you? That's disgusting, really.
It is. It's insulting. It's disgusting. I can't believe it. But
here's some other stories. Tensions flared at the House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee on Thursday as Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly was grilled over a report that Canada abandoned Ukrainian embassy staff as the Russian invasion loomed. And the Earth. What's happening here? The Earth completed its shortest day on record in late June, beating the previous record set in 2010. Listen to this, Lee.
2020.
The report published on July the 27th by the Norwegian time zone tracking website, timeanddate.com, said the Earth completed one spin on July the 29th in 1.59 milliseconds, less than 24 hours. It's the end of us all. No, it's not. But it's true. I mean,
it's Armageddon, everybody.
There you go. I mean, how small a period of time is that? Come on. When you're talking about space and time, Canadians should brace themselves for a winter of record-breaking cold temperatures. I know we're sweating right now, but according to the long-range weather predictions in the latest issue of the Farmer's Almanac,
which I tend to go by a lot.
Extended winter weather forecast, Canadians will brace themselves for a winter of record-breaking cold temperatures, according to the long-range weather predictions in the latest issue of the Farmer's Almanac, And so apparently Quebec is going to get, Quebec and Ontario, more snow than normal, and out west we're going to be cold. And that's what they say. What's going on?
And I agree that I do. I'm going to go back to the Farmer's Almanac thing for a minute. If you go back in dates, the Farmer's Almanac is 50 to 60% more accurate than any forecaster out there.
Sure.
With all that technology, they can tell by the moon, the sun, and all of that what's going to happen next year. And farmers rely on that stuff. And, you know, even the farmers this year, they knew this was coming.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it hurts them, but they knew it was coming, and they
could prepare for it.
And they prepare for that stuff, and it gets their inventory prepared, their equipment fixed, or whatever they need to do, or in fact change their crop. What they're actually going to do with their crop that year. Maybe they won't do corn this year; they'll do soy because they're not going to have as much. You know what I mean? So, Farmers' Almanacs. Buy one, get one, and I guarantee you it'll be closer than the weatherman you see every day on your local television station. So, getting back to, some more news. When U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi arrived in Taiwan on Tuesday, she evoked a sharp response from Beijing. It announced multiple military exercises around the island shortly after she landed, which according to some Taiwanese scholars, is an overreaction. They also say some citizens will actually be thrilled by the visit. And crazy what's going on with that whole ordeal. That's just, but we all know that.
Why did she go there?
China wants Taiwan, so.
Why stir up the pot?
Well, that's it. That's what I don't get. There, you just hit the nail on the head there.
We've already got Russia to worry about, and the Ukraine, and now the Americans are going into pissing off the Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a political expert. I'm not a.
They're looking for war.
But
are you looking for it? Because you're asking for it.
Yeah, it's like what? Sometimes you have to look at from the inside. Maybe who are the bad guys here and who are the good guys? Maybe we're just as bad as they are.
Exactly. You know, is this
this old Russian aggression and Chinese aggression? What about our aggression too? Like why would we go in there? And I'm talking about that we're connected at the hip with the United States.
Yeah.
Why do that?
Yes, I agree. And you got to imagine we have 2 naval ships. The Danish have a couple naval ships, and the Americans have a couple naval ships protecting the Taiwan island as we speak. So just leave that alone. Leave them there. They're doing their thing. Yeah. Well, so now you send her over and poke the bear. I don't know.
What's going on with this lawsuit?
Hockey Canada has just really dropped the ball on this one over an alleged group of sexual assault recently passed through a polygraph examination, her lawyer said on Tuesday. A bunch of millions of dollars have been paid out to all kinds of these people to keep their mouths shut. And they're now under investigation in the House of Commons, and we'll just have to wait and see. This
seems to be an upcoming problem in hockey all the time, though.
Yeah, it's just the last decade's just gone ridiculous.
In hockey, especially.
Yeah.
I don't remember any stories about. I'm sure there are basketball and football and other sports activities with sexual problems.
Tries to get it in scouts for crying out loud.
Yeah, I know, but the hockey just. Yeah. It's just.
I think we're so close to it, and we're big hockey fans to me. It's at first it was shocking, and now you kind of go, well, just our world's going to shit in a handbasket anyway.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, it's affecting all these groups and these poor victims out there and all this that's going on that have had to hush up about it, and it just seems to be growing more and more. And I can't remember the guy's name that first came out about it about 10, 12 years ago. Remember that? An NHL hockey player?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, so that's going on. She's passed the polygraph test, so they're going on with the investigation. U.S. President Joe Biden announced Monday that al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri was killed in a U.S. drone strike in Kabul. And a craft brewery in Gateway Village, PEI, says their delivery van was vandalized on Saturday, and the latest act of hate, they claim, after the business posted a photo of their staff with Justin Trudeau last Friday.
I don't mean to laugh. It's just funny. I'm sorry.
The fact that it's Trudeau, that's the funny part.
Come on, guys. They went and broke a windshield of a truck that belonged to the company. I mean, the guy was in there having, let's put... Okay, politics is what he does for a living, okay?
Yeah.
He's a human being at the same time. And he was in a restaurant. He had his picture taken with people. Okay, he's the prime minister. Come on. Smashing it.
Well, there's tons of pictures of Trudeau.
I'm not his biggest fan.
No, God, no.
But
you know what? I don't hate the guy enough to just go randomly smash somebody's.
I don't hate anybody, really. I mean, he's a human being like everybody else. I'm not very fond of him, I'll tell you that, right? Neither of us are. Come on, that's totally over the wall. You guys got to find something to do with your time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Get drunk.
Yes.
You're a Star Trek fan, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle Nichols.
Yeah.
God bless her. She broke barriers for black women in Hollywood, too.
Oh, big time.
I mean, and she was
Wasn't that the first
she was a
interracial
sexy
kiss?
gal.
Wasn't she the first interracial kiss with Captain Kirk?
Probably.
I believe.
Probably. It was a good possibility. Now, in Hollywood, of course, she played communications officer Lieutenant Uhura on the original Star Trek television series, and she died this week at the age of 89, and her son put up
She was a beautiful woman. Beautiful woman.
Even in her 80s. I mean, she's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has ordered all civilians still living in parts of eastern Donetsk region under Ukrainian control to evacuate, so that's coming next, I guess. And we
get ahead of the game on that one.
And of course, President Joe tested positive for COVID-19 again.
Again.
Slightly more than 3 days after he was cleared to exit coronavirus isolation. I like Joe. I find him funny. He's an old plotter.
He's a mumbler.
He's a lovable mumbler, though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not getting into political stuff.
Like I say, they seem to love to elect presidents that have one foot in the grave. You know.
Yes, I mean they're so old. My God.
My God, man. You know, like yeah, okay. Clinton wasn't that bad, and Barack wasn't that old, but you look at a lot of their presidents in the past, and they were old.
Yeah. It's
fuddy-duddies.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen his bloopers? There's a whole blooper reel on Biden bloopers.
Oh, God.
And
that's got to be about a half hour long or an hour long.
It's a couple hours long, as a matter of fact. And Pope Francis says the abuses Indigenous peoples faced while being forced to attend residential schools amounted to genocide, but he said it on the plane on the way back. He didn't say it while he was on Canadian soil.
Yeah.
He said it in the plane on the way back to Italy.
Yeah. Home.
And,
no, it's a shame. We've been calling it genocide on this show since we found out about it, and it still pains me to find that the Catholic Church has not been the charges laid of some kind. The evidence is so overwhelming that how has our government just sat back? Like I said, just recently, a guy that was like 93 years old got charged for war crimes in the Nazi concentration camps and got charged in jail time for it. So how, this just goes to show how the power of the church has over politics. When it says in the Constitution that politics and religion should never be, but anyway, what do you do?
Well,
we can sit here and bitch about it all day long.
How many times, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's hard to say sorry for something like that and expect it to go away.
Well, because
it'll never go away.
That's what a criminal investigation and a criminal charge is supposed to kind of work towards. That is saying, hey, we're sorry this happened, so we're going to go after the shitheads that did this, and they didn't. They've done absolutely nothing.
When you look at the shit that Indigenous people have to go through,
oh my God,
day, it's ridiculous.
It's so sad, so sad.
We're not proud of that.
That's where I get a bit of hate on for people in the government that sit there and say how wonderful they're doing for the Indigenous people when you're lying. You're lying. So Nottingham Forest supporters, you've been working your Nottingham thing going, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you a little story, and it'll be very fast. I was born in Nottingham, England, in 1960, and it was the same day that they made. There was a movie called Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, and they were filming it on location in Nottingham the day I was born, and I've watched that movie every year of my life since I was born. Well, not every year, but and I was born and raised a Nottingham Forest fan. I'm a Liverpool fan. I've always been a Liverpool fan, and all my buddies know that. And others saying, well, what's this Forest stuff? Well, I was born and raised a Nottingham Forest fan. My family drank from the FA Cup in 1959.
Right.
Okay, when Forest won it. So my team is going back into the Premier League, and so I've embraced the supporters and donated my sportscast every day, which I write. I'm heard on radio stations around the world every morning with my sports. And it's the World Radio Sports Report from Air Radio. We produce it. So I've donated my sportscast to the fans on Facebook not only in England, but from Canada mainly and around the world.
Right.
Just to get everybody into not only Nottingham Forest, but into soccer more.
Yeah.
Because this is a
draw
wonderful.
attention to it,
I mean,
yeah.
Toronto FC. You know me. I'm a highlight junkie.
Yeah.
I watch everything, and I'm not just talking about Toronto. I'm talking about
I know.
everything because
I
in
know
my
you
job
do.
I have to do everything, and so Toronto FC and Major League Soccer, it needs to grow. Because there's some fantastic soccer out there, and you guys are missing it. You know, in Toronto not so much, but some of the markets
And
could
now-
have more people in the seats.
And now with these Android boxes and stuff, you can watch them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's made it easy. So
It's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They scored 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns, grab a 35-20 victory over the Alouettes in Canadian Football League action.
and they're unbeaten, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're
I
9-0.
remember correctly.
And the Ottawa Red Blacks, they earned their first victory of the season as they beat the division rival Toronto Argonauts 23-13 at a defensive battle. And that was a close game.
Yeah.
In a highly anticipated meeting, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers also, of course, they played twice this week, managed to prolong their undefeated streak when they beat the Stampeders as well, 35-28 earlier in the week. Premier League begins Friday night and this weekend with Arsenal travelling to Crystal Palace and Selhurst Park, and Nottingham Forest kick off on Saturday playing Newcastle United.
Just saying those names brings out
Yes.
the accent, right?
It's awesome, eh? Just an Arsenal 0, Wolves 1.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't a real score, by the way. But Nottingham Forest kick off against Newcastle on Saturday. The first time back in the Premier League for my team in over 20 years.
Yes.
And win or lose, we're very proud of Nottingham Forest for making it back to the Premier League. The Calgary Flames, did you hear what Jonathan Huberdeau, how much are they paying him?
I know, it just blew me away. An 8-year, $84 million contract extension. The team stated on Thursday night, $84 million contract extension.
Wow.
I think that's got to be one of the highest in the NHL, I think. It's got to be up there. Because the NHL players don't get like what the basketball and baseball and guys and stuff get. So,
Ben Scully died.
yeah, I know,
He
eh?
was the best, wasn't he?
He just had that voice,
Oh, no
my
one
God,
could say
you know.
the Dodgers like Ben
Dodgers.
Scully and Joe Garagiola. But when I was a kid, I used to watch Ben Scully on and Joe Garagiola on the baseball game of the week.
Yeah.
And I used to watch it with my dad, and
Well, I'd put him up there with Howard Cosell. He
I'd
was
put
one
him
of-
up there with above probably anybody.
Yeah.
He was that good.
Yeah, oh God,
I mean,
yeah.
Tom Cheek and I were buddies.
67 years he was
But-
broadcasting.
Yeah.
You're not that good unless you know.
You and I both belong to the broadcast community in Canada and around the world, and look at the tributes on Facebook alone for
Oh.
Vince Scully from our peers, the
Yeah.
people that work in radio and TV,
Absolutely.
calling him the greatest of all time. And arguably, I can't think of anyone that really impacted the booth like he did.
No.
I mean,
No,
he was
his
just
call,
an icon.
his play-by-play was incredible, and it just, there were times where I'd be in the States and I'd just throw the TV on, game would be on. I didn't care to watch it.
Do you know how many years he broadcast LA Dodgers and Brooklyn Dodger games? 67
Yeah.
seasons. Can you imagine that?
No.
I used to think Wally Crowder was amazing because he made 40 years on the air at CFRB. 67 years.
Yep. And not just that, the appearances he made in movies and television shows and stuff like that. The guy was known around the world. Whether you were a baseball fan or not, you knew who Vince Scully was.
And basketball fans, of course,
Yeah.
here's another one. Bill Russell, centerpiece of the Boston Celtics.
For years. Years.
The guy was incredible.
I can't believe he was 88.
He's 88, yeah.
Yeah, that's-
the Celtics were the Montreal Canadiens of the NBA.
Yeah.
They really were in the 60s because it was like, oh God, are the Celtics going to win it again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, are the Celtics going to win it again? Oh God, are the Canadians going to win it again?
Yeah.
It had the same thing. And Bill Russell was the man that created
Big
that.
time. I
in
was
so
shocked
many
to
ways.
find out he was 88, though.
Let's get into some fun and some Leah's trivia.
All right.
We'll let Leah lead off with it.
1964, on this day, the Kinks released You Really Got Me in the UK with a distorted guitar sound accomplished by taking a razor blade to an amplifier. It became their first hit, spending 2 weeks on the UK #1 charts in September. So
I often wondered on how they got that sound on the guitar. You know, some immortal sounds from rock and roll, and you got to admit, the riff off that song is one of the greatest of all time.
The second you start that riff,
you know
everybody in the bar knows what's playing.
Yeah,
they
it's
know
the Kinks,
exactly.
Man, you know, same as Sweet Home Alabama. You know, dunk dunk. Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there's certain songs that just have that boom, and that is definitely one of them. Ray Davies, must have been pretty high one day and just started.
Oh, he's an alien, isn't he?
Just started.
No, that's the other guy.
It's his brother.
Yeah.
But he must have just been grabbing stuff, and maybe he was practicing in the bathroom.
Who knows?
You never know.
But it's an iconic sound now. This week in 1967, this is
funny.
Leah's trivia, by the way, and Leah puts a lot of work into this stuff.
It's great though.
A female monkey's pants stowed away on the band's plane between shows in Minneapolis and St. Louis. Can you believe this? The girl's father threatened to bring charges to the monkeys for transporting a minor across state lines. It's not their fault
that your daughter's a tramp.
Yes, whatever.
Wants to be a groupie or whatever.
That's right, whatever.
Has aspiring desires to be a groupie, I guess.
There you go.
1963, Indiana State Governor Matthew Welsh claimed that the Kingsmen song Louie Louie was pornographic. The publishers offered $1,000 to anyone who could find anything suggestive in the lyrics. The FBI investigation dragged on through 1965, with each laboratory examination of the record deemed inconclusive. No one could determine what Eli was singing, so the record couldn't be declared obscene. And he did that on purpose.
You want to know a story about Louie Louie? Back in the 90s, I think it was, or in the 80s, a radio station in Washington State played Louie Louie records. That was their format. There's over, I think, 15,000 or something, some crazy number of recordings of Louie Louie, and they had every one of them in their library, and they were all Louie Louie all the time.
That's hilarious.
So that's how popular that song is.
At least it wasn't like some of those guys that just put on the same track over and over and over again for 15 hours.
I'll tell you what happened to me once at a station up north, and we used to play religious programming at 6 o'clock in the morning. I think it was Wawa, I'm not sure which town it was. I can't remember. It was a big blur when I was a kid up north. But we used to have a religious show come on at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was the new kid. I was the all-night show, so I had to cue this show on.
Right.
So I queued it on, and I queued it up, put the cue off, hit the button, didn't even listen to the on-air monitor in the studio, went for a pee, and, well, whatever, and I'm in the bathroom, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, and I hear the show playing backwards. Somebody had put the reel on the other way around. So I put it on backwards. So one person called. I guess we didn't have many listeners.
Right.
And I said, that's the new Swedish guy. I said, we can't understand what a word he's saying. We played the wrong show. It's the Swedish show we're playing. And the guy believed me. True story. You can't make that up.
Calling his Swedish friends going, hey, you should listen to this guy. Oh, my God.
All right. Well, how did we get into that one?
Yeah.
Is it my turn or yours?
That went sideways. 68 for you.
All right. The 2-day Newport Pop Festival took place in Costa Mesa, California. Alice Cooper, Canned Heat, the Chambers Brothers, who were screwed by all of their music companies on that song, by the way. And that's for another show. They had Charles Lloyd Quartet, Country Joe and the Fish, Electric Flag, the James Cotton Blues Band, Paul Butterfield Blues Band. Oh my God, Steppenwolf. And it was, of course, the Newport Pop Festival.
And Tiny Tim.
And Tiny Tim was there, of course, as well. Remember, you do that very well. I remember him. He was a sweet guy. I mean, he got married on the Johnny Carson show.
Oh, yeah. What a character he was. Over 100,000 fans, eh?
Yeah, wow.
Attended that festival. Now, something along these lines, Mel and I have been watching. Have you seen this new one called Trainwreck Woodstock 99?
No.
It's about the 30-year celebration they did in Rome, New York for this anniversary of Woodstock. Well, they had bands like Rage Against the Machine, Korn, Metallica. Oh man, the fans went, they destroyed the place. I mean, absolutely just destroyed an army bunker. They destroyed it. It was insane, the amount of damage. Over 250,000 people attended this thing. So yeah, this is these festivals, you just don't see them like these anymore. Like '68, it was all about it's peace, love.
No,
these ones, it's about let's kick this shit out of everybody. Crazy. All right, back to Leah's trivia, and we're missing Leah today. So hi, sweetie. 1999, Patsy Cline received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame prior to her death at the age of 30 in a private plane crash when she was in the height of her career. And obviously
one of the most interesting ladies and most beautiful voices in country music history.
So many women try to emulate that voice.
You can't emulate
and you
Patsy.
just can't do it, sweetie. You know, it's yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie?
I had a long time ago, yeah.
Coal Miner's Daughter?
Yeah, a long time ago.
And no, that's Loretta Lynn.
Loretta Lynn, yeah.
But Patsy, it's a Patsy Cline story. But Loretta and Patsy were friends, I think.
I believe so.
But the movie of Patsy Cline's life, she had a very interesting life.
Oh, God, yeah.
She went from this to this to this to this. And
very smart woman.
Yeah, it's a movie you should check out.
I say it's been a long time, but I do remember it, and it was.
A young lady by the name of Aretha Franklin makes her television debut singing "Don't Cry, Baby" and "Try a Little Tenderness" on American Bandstand this day in 1962, and in '78, Boston released their second album, "Don't Look Back," which, like its predecessor, was recorded mostly in Tom Schultz's basement.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful basement studio down there. And that's, there's another band that...
very underrated.
But the original album was so iconic.
Oh, God, yeah.
How can you better
follow that up? Yeah.
You know, how many times have I listened to More Than a Feeling in my radio career? Yeah. Millions. And I still get that same feeling when it comes on. It's one of these.
And you know, when you think about a band like Boston, being a musician myself, you don't hear them in the bars. That band was so tight and so clean that you can't, to put a band together and go into a bar and play one of their tunes.
You can't do that.
Not a chance, man.
It's a wall of sound.
Oh, exactly. That's what it's a full.
It's like a Spectre rock and roll sound.
Absolutely.
Like whoosh.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of bands, that go in and record in the studio, and then you think of studio bands that overdub and overlay and everything else, and you hear a song by Boston. It's like whoosh.
Yeah.
Rush. It's like whoosh.
Yeah. And the thing is when you go see them live,
yeah.
it's still that way.
Yes.
That's the problem. You hear some of these bands and you get that whoosh off their song, and then
whoosh.
You go see them live.
Whoosh.
Yeah. Then you go see them live and you go, wow, that was
same with the old Spectre stuff in the 60s. When you hear Spectre stuff, and I know he was an asshole and everything else, but his
production was
he was a genius.
Yeah.
And he was the first one to come out with that big sound, that big whoosh sound. The Ronettes had it.
Yeah.
It was like a wall of sound.
Yeah. No, it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. And it carried over into the rock genre with Boston and Rush and bands like that.
One of the guys I love, 2014, Weird Al Yankovic's Mandatory Fun goes #1.
I like Weird Al.
I love Weird Al. They're making a movie about him, eh?
Oh, yeah.
He's done well. Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man, he's playing Weird Al.
That was me playing Spider-Man, by the way. There's some things you can't fake.
No.
What else we got?
1960, Chubby Checker releases The Twist, starting a dance craze that soon gripped the nation and still does today.
The only song in history, and I sound like Casey Kasem now,
to
ever go to #1 twice, 1960 and 1962. And Chubby will be the first one to tell you how good he is.
Yeah.
I met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
But he's a wonderful man, just a wonderful man. But he's got so much.
Come on, baby. Let's do the twist.
I love Chubby Checker. 1964, Billboard magazine reported that the harmonica was making a comeback in a big way, thanks to its use by Stevie Wonder, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and Bob Dylan. So it crept in there for a while.
And it did. It made it, especially in the folk era.
I still like a harmonica.
Oh, our harp player, Harry Rudolph's, amazing harp player. Love to hear the guy. We've got a couple of songs that just, if that harp wasn't there, the song would have no meaning.
No meaning. It just takes the soul right out of a folk song.
Absolutely, and Harry does an amazing job. Love you, Harry, and the rest of the guys. Crazy Chester.
1981.
81. I remember this too.
So do I.
MTV goes on the air, bringing music videos to the masses, at least the ones with cable anyway, with the words, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll," spoken by co-creator Jack Lack. Viacom-owned MTV Music Television makes its broadcast debut on this day, 1981.
This date in 2003, when the disease SARS spread to Toronto, it scares a lot of people away, and to get visitors back, the city puts a huge open-air concert featuring the Rolling Stones, the Guess Who, the Rush, the Isley Brothers, the Flaming Lips,
and Justin Timberlake,
who was actually jeered and had muffins thrown at him. I don't know what we were trying to tell him with that. Muffins. Maybe it's all they had at the time to throw at him. I'm not sure. But, of course, that was February 23rd, 2003, when SARS hit Toronto. And I know I didn't go to the concert.
I was backstage.
Were you?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Chaos. Yeah. Absolute chaos. When Justin went on, there was more than muffins thrown at Justin. There were bottles. Now, there was only these style bottles. There was no hard bottles, but that full hitting you in the head, still gonna. And he got beamed a couple of times and went off stage. They kept playing the music, and then he walked back out and kind of got the crowd back and did a really good job. He did a really good job. Why. And the Rolling Stones actually invited Justin to that. Yeah. They wanted him there.
Yeah. And everyone that said that AC/DC blew away the Stones at that concert.
Absolutely.
But wasn't it more to do with the sound people?
I think there was an aspect of that too, because the Stones did. They sounded like somebody hit the suck button.
Just imagine AC/DC and the Rolling Stones on the same stage.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. AC/DC just rocked it. Absolutely, just
they should have put them on together just to jam.
Oh, even that would have been.
Loved that.
Man, oh man, it was.
That would be iconic.
It was a. I drank probably 40 bottles of water that day. It was as hotter than it is today. It was hot as hell that day. So I remember it very vividly, very, very vividly. Here's one going way, way back. 1846, France's army gives legitimacy to the Belgian Adelphi sax.
That's his name.
Latest invention, the saxophone, by including it in their marching band. I did not know that. And I was
so there's actually a guy named Sax.
Sax.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I did not
See
know
what she teaches us, Leah.
Oh man,
you're amazing. You're amazing.
That's what she does for a living. She teaches, right?
I know. 1971, after being denied entrance to a Who concert in New York City's Forest Hill Stadium, an ex-convict stabs and kills a security guard.
Yeah, and the Who have had a couple bad runs on stuff like that. The one in Cincinnati that WKRP did the show about.
Yes.
What was it, 11 people?
Yeah, that was the Riverfront Stadium.
Yeah, general admission seating.
Yeah,
that's what got rid of. That's why you got to buy a ticket now, and you get designed a seat. Is because of that concert. So yeah, that was again. Wow, thanks, Leah. I didn't know about that one. 1980. The Mamas and the Papas founder, vocalist Papa John Phillips is arrested for possession of cocaine and running a phony prescription scam with a local pharmacy, and eventually sentenced to 8 years in prison, though his sentence would be later reduced to 30 days in jails and community service.
They were, Fleetwood Mac, Mamas and Papas, very drug-influenced bands.
Oh, very much,
groups,
yeah. At that time, a lot of them were. You figure that Aerosmith was when they started, very drug-induced. A lot of them were back then. It was just cocaine was like to us marijuana.
Yeah, that's right.
So
1980? Also on this day, the Eagles split up after Glenn Frey and Don Felder go at it on stage. They actually went at it. The group wraps up the Long Run tour with a benefit concert in Long Beach, California for the Senator Alan Cranston. Before the show, Felder and Frey exchanged words, releasing years of pent-up tension that comes to a head when they go on stage. During the show, they exchange threats when the show's going on, and when they finish up, Felder smashes his guitar and takes off, and the show becomes known as Eagles lore as Long Night at Wrong Beach.
Right.
Yeah,
one of the classic iconic breakups of bands. You know, it's just and being in bands and stuff. I've actually had players walk off.
There's one where the drummer's drumming. It's on Facebook, or no, it's on YouTube. The guy's drumming away, and it's one of those comical
the
things.
singer comes around.
The singer goes and he whispers something to the drummer. The drummer gets up and just pounds, and they start going at it right on stage.
Yeah, I've seen that
Love
one.
it.
It's hilarious. It's not funny, but it is funny. But again, you know, when you work that close together that long, it's
like playing sports. It's like a passion. When you're in a band, when you're in a hockey team, a soccer team, you are one unit.
You're part of a team,
and you're part of a team. When you're scoring goals or playing the bass guitar, you're a part of that. Whatever you're doing, and that can build up. Look at the fights in hockey. Most of the people that fight in hockey actually like each other.
They're
They're
friends.
just pissed off at the time.
It's a it's a reaction right away.
Exactly.
So, but it does happen from time to time. But yeah, it's we love this trivia. You can check it out on our Facebook pages. Leah does an amazing job with it, and we love her very much.
And we're brought to you, of course, by TravelManitoba.com. Manitoba, of course, especially noted for northern polar bears. Churchill, of course, commonly referred to as the polar bear capital of the world. Other large animals, as I was telling you earlier, include Foster the moose. Mm-hmm. We have many moose in Canada, of course, a lot in Manitoba.
Well, he got relocated up there, so
white-tailed deer, of course. Black bears. We have cougars,
lynx, wildcats. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wildcats.
Names weren't coming ahead. But.
And of course, the beautiful city of Winnipeg, the home of rock and roll in Canada, home of the 1050 Chum Winnipeg Mafia, who came to Toronto and gave us a wonderful radio station.
Yeah.
So Winnipeg has a lot of musical ties to it. And
we like to call it Winterpeg. But,
and hello to Warren Cosford, one of the Winnipeg Mafia out there.
We want to be on your side, buddy.
Yeah, we sure do. All right, so of course the Jays had a good week. We beat Minnesota, and we split with Tampa Bay. The Tigers, we beat them a couple of games. In the Dodgers and the Padres, there's no real pennant races in baseball right now.
Not yet, no.
Apart from, I guess, you look at the National League Central, which is pretty close between Chicago and Cleveland and Minnesota.
And then you're going to have to fight for the wild card spot, too.
Yeah, wild card. But as far as pennant races go, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets and Atlanta are pretty close, and the Phillies, but that's about it. So, hey, don't forget our radio, FM108.ca.
Radio GTA.ca.
We have a community station as well.
We also have our Halton Hills Online community station.
And we have Don Cherry, and we have great radio shows.
We're the only ones in Canada to be carrying Don Cherry, so you better check it out.
Halton Hills is Canada's hometown, my friend. You know that?
We know that.
And we'd like to thank you for joining us. And hello to Mark Panopoulos. As always, we say hello to Mark because he invented our chimes. Loosey-goosey chime time. Rock and roll, everybody.